deciding factor. Maverick winked at the Commodore. Therefore, Jackson's side, Captain Sterling and his crew are to be awarded the Star of Merit for unconventional diplomacy. As for you, Barnacle. Yes, sir? Barnacle asked hopefully. You're being transferred. There's a weather station in the Antarctic that needs a commander. It's very quiet, no garter belts, no grapefruit, and definitely no laughing gas. Epilogue. Sunset on the Bastion. As the transport ship carried a sobbing Barnacle away toward the frozen south, Maverick Sterling sat on the deck of the Sea Wraith, watching the sunset. Percy Pringle sat beside him, nursing a cold soda. Do you think he'll like the Antarctic, Mav? Oh, he'll love it, Percy. I hear the penguins are very strict about their plumbing. Maverick looked at Barnaby the lizard, who was currently sunning himself on a pile of recovered and slightly singed currency. You know, Percy, Maverick mused, they say honesty is the best policy. But in the GEF, a good laugh and a well-timed toothache are worth a hell of a lot more. And as the ukuleles began to play in the distance, the scoundrels of Isla de la Luna prepared for their next mission. Figuring out what to do with 300 tactical garter belts. The Scoundrels of Moon Sector 7, a galactic comedy of errors, by your professional novelist persona. Chapter 1, The Fake Feint and the Accidental Regent. The humid air of Aquila 7 felt like breathing lukewarm soup. Inside the pressurized dome of Outpost Alpha, Commodore Barnaby, Old Iron Lung, blast off a man whose face was perpetually the color of a ripened beet, was having a nervous breakdown. Garter belts! Barnaby shrieked, slamming his fist onto a desk made of recycled asteroid plating. Sterling, you are the chief supply officer of this quadrant. If the space nurses need garter belts to keep their anti-gravity stockings up, you snap to it. Shake a proton leg. Do I make myself clear? Standing across from him was Commander Maverick, Mav. Sterling, the leader of a ragtag group of pilots known as the Nebula Rats. Mav was leaned back, looking entirely too comfortable for someone being yelled at. Commodore, we're at war with the Zorgon Empire. I figured plasma batteries were a higher priority than lingerie. Don't get cheeky with me, Barnaby hissed. Then his face paled. A message blipped on his holographic display. Oh no, not him. Grand Overseer, Titangent Threads. Stone is arriving for a sneak inspection. He's the most cold-blooded bureaucrat in the Galactic Federation. He'll see this base is a mess. The Petty Officers Club has a backing-up sewage recycler. The star skiffs are covered in illegal racing decals, and someone is brewing moonshine in the engine room. Barnaby clutched his stomach. My acid levels are high enough to melt through a hull. If I'm here when Stone arrives, he'll court-martial me into the next dimension. His sycophantic aide, Lieutenant Felix Finch, stepped forward. Sir, if you were incapacitated, you wouldn't have to face the Overseer. You could appoint an acting base commander. Someone like Mav Sterling. Barnaby's eyes twinkled with a malicious, manic light. Brilliant, Finch. If I put Sterling in charge, the Nebula Rats will run wild, destroy the base, and Stone will blame them. I'll be tucked away in the med bay, innocent as a newborn star. Suddenly, Barnaby let out a dramatic groan and collapsed onto his plush hover chair. I'm fading, Finch. Call the medics. Tell them it's Space Scout or the Rigelian flu. Mav Sterling walked in as the medics were hauling a comatose Barnaby away. To Mav's horror, he was handed the command codes. Wait, Mav protested. I'm a pilot, not a desk jockey. The Commodore is very, very sick, sir. Finch sneered, hiding a grin. Good luck with the Overseer. 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 Chapter 2, The Hula Bot Riot. Within 3 hours of Mav Sterling taking command, Outpost Alpha had transformed. The sewage recycler was still broken, but nobody cared because the Nebula Rats had organized a galactic luau. Mav was on the subspace comms. Yeah, Chief. The sinks are still plugged? Look, I'm on a call with a supply freighter. We found those garter belts the nurses wanted. Send them over to the medical wing on the double, and tell the crew. Full speed ahead on the party. While Mav was busy juggling supply lists and dodging calls from the Zorgon front, his executive officer, Lieutenant Percy Pringle, a man whose clumsiness was statistically impossible, was busy organizing the entertainment. Skip, Percy beamed, his helmet on backward. The boys are throwing a shindig. We've got hula bots, synthesized palm trees, and we're charging a cover fee of 50 credits. We'll be rich. Percy, we're supposed to be running a base. Mav groaned, but he couldn't hide a smile. Just keep the hula bots away from the landing pad. Too late. Grand Overseer Stone's shuttle touched down. Barnaby, watching from his medbay window in a silk bathrobe, cackled. Look at them, Finch. It's a Roman orgy out there. Stone will have Sterling's head on a platter. Barnaby rushed out in his pajamas, shouting, Overseer, look! Hula bots in the air raid shelter. Sterling is a traitor. Stone, a man who looked like he was carved out of granite, turned to Mav. Mav didn't blink. He's delirious, sir. Space fever. The Commodore has been seeing hallucinations for weeks. He thinks there are dancers everywhere. Truly tragic. Barnaby gasped. I am not hallucinating. Look in the closet. He flung open a supply closet, expecting a hiding dancer. Instead, Percy Pringle fell out, wearing a grass skirt and holding a pineapple. Stone sighed. Get this man a sedative. Sterling, carry on with the inspection. And get that man in the skirt a proper uniform. Chapter 3. The Sultan and the Star Skiff. The base's reputation was barely saved when a new crisis arrived. The Sultan of the Solari system was forced to make an emergency landing. He arrived with his 3 daughters, the princesses of the sun, and a mountain of luggage that required its own freighter. Mav Sterling, wanting to impress the royal ally, offered the Sultan a ride on the Vanguard 7-3, the base's fastest star skiff. The Sultan was thrilled. An interesting craft, Commander. If my system had a navy, I would want 1,000 of these. However, the Sultan's daughters were bored. Percy Pringle, in a moment of misguided chivalry, decided to take one of the princesses, Ciri, for a secret moonlight joyride in the skiff. The engine conked out in the middle of a swampy nebula. Back at the base, Barnaby, now recovered, was hosting a formal dinner. When he realized the princess and the skiff were missing, he turned to the Sultan. Your Highness, it seems Sterling's men have kidnapped your daughter. The Sultan's face darkened. But Mav, thinking fast, had Percy and the crew sneak back into the kitchen. Since Ciri was still missing, they dressed the brawny engine mechanic, sly Silas, in a veil and a gown. My daughters will dance for you, the Sultan announced. Silas, looking like a hairy gargoyle in silk, began to do a clumsy stomp. Barnaby, suspicious, grabbed the princess by the veil. Aha, an impostor. He ripped off the veil, revealing Silas's bearded face. The Sultan was outraged, not at Silas, but at Barnaby for touching a royal woman. You infidel, the Sultan roared. You dare lay hands on a dancer of my court. Mav stepped in. The Commodore has battle fatigue, Highness. He sees hairy men where there are beautiful women. It's a common lunar ailment. Barnaby was dragged back to the medbay, screaming about bearded princesses, while Ciri was quietly returned to her quarters by a mud-covered Percy. Chapter 4. The Giggle Gas Gambit. Barnaby's patience had finally evaporated. He convened a fitness board to have Percy Pringle stripped of his rank. The man is a menace, Barnaby told the board. He once torpedoed a garbage scow because he thought it was a Zorgon stealth ship. Mav knew he had to save Percy. He remembered the laughing gas, nitrous oxide, used in the dental wing. If we can get the Commodore in a good mood, Mav whispered to his crew, he'll cancel the hearing. As Barnaby sat in his office, preparing his scathing testimony against Percy, Silas and the crew hooked up a tank of nitrous oxide to the ventilation system. Suddenly, Barnaby began to giggle. Barnaby wandered out into the base, hysterically